Hi. Good evening, all of you. Can you hear?
Good
Yes,
evening,
miss.
madam.
Good evening, miss.
Okay, right. Um, we have 12 students. Others will come, right? Okay, so then shall we start the work? Only yesterday we had the discussion, right? So still you may have fresh memories regarding what we discussed so far. So therefore, I don't think I should talk back. I should repeat what was already covered yesterday, right? Simply to say, I was talking about the latter part of the discussion. I was talking about the grammar, right? Grammar of language. There are some, definitions or interpretations of some particular concepts of grammar. This one, right? And after that, today we need to continue from fallacies concerning grammar. Okay, now this is not a very big discussion, not a lengthy area, but as we are talking about grammar now, you need to know grammar means at a general level, right? Grammar of any language at a general level, you need to be aware of the particular concepts of grammar, like what is descriptive grammar, what is prescriptive grammar, what is grammatical competence, like that, etc. So you are uh, expected to know about these terms. At the same time, according to this topic, you should be aware of the fallacies concerning grammar. Now, fallacies means some misinterpretations. We can say misinterpretations or some misbeliefs, misconceptions, wrong ideas. Okay, briefly to say, or in simple words, some wrong ideas. Now, there are such ideas among the users of any language. Now, you have your mother tongue, and apart from your mother tongue, you are using your second language. Now, just look at this list, right? And see whether you also have any of these ideas or beliefs with you. Let's see. First one, there are languages that have no grammar or little grammar. Have you ever thought something like that? Considering your language, maybe your mother tongue or any other language in the world. There are languages in the world that don't have grammar or little grammar, not very big. What do you think about that notion? Do you have that idea? There's no language in the world without grammar, right? Every language, you know. Now, by now, I think you have some sort of an idea regarding the systematic nature of language. We were talking about it yesterday also, no? Language is a system because there are sub-units, there are components, and any language functions with the function of each and every individual component and its interrelationship. Okay, and how do you think all these components are connected? By rules. Rules means grammar. Okay, so there are no languages without grammar. So the first point listed here is not correct. That's a fallacy, right? And second point, certain types of grammars are simpler and hence more primitive than others, while other grammars, like particularly grammars which make use of inflections or word endings to express distinctions, are more complex and hence more advanced. A simple idea is there are languages that contain simple grammar and there are other languages that contain complex grammar. Those languages that contain simple grammar are considered to be quite primitive. Now, you know the meaning of the word primitive, right? Not very much developed, not very advanced, very basic than others. Right? Others, and there are other languages that contain grammars that are very much developed and advanced because they are complicated or complex. Being complex, some people think, okay, that's very advanced. Now, what do you think about that? Don't you ever, or haven't you ever thought something like that? If there are advanced, like not advanced, if there are complicated or complex grammar patterns, don't you think that it's quite advanced grammar? Or such kind of things have not occurred in you so far? What do you think about these ideas? Hmm? Do you also have this kind of ideas? Or what do you think regarding grammar of any language? I don't know whether you have thought about grammar aspect, but without grammar, of course, we can't handle languages now. So you may have some idea regarding the grammar of any language you use. So just think about yourself, okay? Right. So that is also wrong belief. There's nothing called simple grammar or complex grammar. Because grammar in its nature is not either simple or complex, right? It becomes simple or complex according to how we observe it, according to how we receive it, how we understand it, how we observe it. That's all. Otherwise, grammar itself is neither simple or complex. That's just a set of rules. Okay. So therefore, being simple, we can't just say that's quite basic grammar, not that much advanced. We can't say so. Other vice versa also, the other way around also, the same. Right. And grammar should be logical. There's another idea, another fallacy actually. Because now we people feel quite comfortable with logical things, right? If there are rational reasons, logical reasons behind everything that happens around in us, okay, we feel quite comfortable. Rational, logical means like there is a reason for any result, cause and effect, okay? Cause and effect relationship. That's quite convenient for us now. But we are a little bit confused when there is no logical cause or reason behind anything. We apply that to grammar as well, right? So we expect every grammar rule should be logical. But do you think that every grammar rule is logical? Just think about the English language. How do you think about that? All the grammar rules are logical as you think. Do you find logical reasons behind every grammar rule? What do you think about that? Yes, or at least yes or no? No idea. Uh, Still, yeah, you all have to come to the mood of the lesson. Still the beginning of the discussion, right? Okay, so just start thinking about this kind of things and see whether you also have any of these ideas. Okay, by the way, may I know whether you can hear me properly? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Because there are some sounds going on in my house at the moment. Uh, so I don't know whether you can hear me properly. Right. Hima is, I think, not all grammar parts are always logical. That's the thing. Right? Some are logical. That's right. Some grammar reasons, or some grammar rules, okay, we can find logical reasons why and how, but we don't find such logical reasons for all the grammar rules. Any language, not only English. Okay. So we can't expect grammars to be logical all the time. That's the thing. So if you expect grammar to be logical, that is your problem. I mean, your misunderstanding. And grammar results in deterioration or alternatively evolution. You know what? Deterioration and evolution. Deterioration means like getting, what do you mean? I mean, deteriorating something means getting destroyed, not developing, opposite of development. Evolution, it's a kind of progression, development. So grammar results in either deterioration or evolution. Some people think like that also. Okay. grammar results either in the destruction of something or development of something. It doesn't have anything like that, right? So by using grammar of any language, we do not particularly mean the going down or going up of that language. We simply relate to the systematicness of that language. We maintain the systematic quality of that language by using grammar. That's all. It doesn't mean particularly whether we are talking about development or anything else of that language. It doesn't have anything to do with the development or deterioration. Okay, so grammar doesn't have anything in relation to that. And people are taught the grammar of their native language. Okay, next point. People are taught the grammar of their native language. What do you think about this idea? This one. Do you think you learn the grammar of your mother tongue, native language or the mother tongue? Do you learn the grammar rules of your mother tongue? Yes or no? Your mother tongue is either
Yes.
Sinhala or yes. Do you learn the grammar rules of your mother tongue? Are you sure? Think a little bit and tell me. Yeah, Asus? Now, I'm not talking about the school, okay? Now, for example, in school, you have a subject, no, O-level subject. For example, Sinhala. Sinhala is one of the subjects you learn, and even Tamil, right? Those who are learning in Tamil medium, Tamil is one of the subjects. I'm not talking about that part, right? But okay, we learn at school, but we don't use in real life. What do you mean by that, Hima? We use the mother tongue or the native language in real life, right? Now, I'm not talking about that school thing. I'm simply telling, as a child, as an infant, do you learn the grammar of your mother tongue? As an infant, do you
No,
think your huh? Sorry?
no.
Your parents or your mother or your father or maybe your grandparents, do they teach you the grammar
No,
rules
no,
of your during your infancy or childhood?
no,
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 madam.
no. No, we do not learn, instead we acquire. Right now, there are two words to learning and acquisition. I think you know about these two words in English vocabulary, learning and acquisition. Learning, consciously learning something from a teacher in formal environment. Learning is that. And acquisition without knowledge, right? Without knowing, learning something. And we don't have a formal teacher. We don't learn anything. Actually, we don't acquire from a formal teacher, or we don't acquire in a formal setting, in a formal classroom. No, acquisition takes place informally. Informally without the awareness of the learner. So mother tongue, first language acquisition is the best example for acquisition, right? During infancy, around like you start talking after 6 months, no? Right? You start babbling and uttering one word, two word stage, telegraphic stage. Likewise, after the birth, from 6 months onwards, you start acquiring your mother tongue. No one is teaching you. Okay, no one is teaching the infant how to say words, how to produce words, how to arrange words to form sentences, nothing like that. Okay, that's the natural situation. But during schools, when the child starts schooling, at the school, of course, there are some subjects related to the mother tongue. Then there is a proper education there. But I'm not talking about that here. But normally when we talk, we don't consider grammar. Yes, Asus, but the thing is, even if we do not consider or concern about grammar, we do not break grammar. Do you think now, just think about the situation where you talk casually with your friends using English. Do you violate grammar? I don't think so. Violating grammar, we can't use language. Violating means not at a great level, but sometimes we might reduce some patterns like, okay, hungry, what to do? There are no violations there, right? We simply omit some words. Some words are omitted. I am hungry without telling it, we just say hungry. That is not a violation, simply reduction of some parts, omission of some parts. Such things are there. Such things are there in the language when we use our mother tongue or even the second language. But here, if I come back to the point, this is also a wrong notion. People are told the grammar of their native language, no. Right? Okay, and the next one. There are completely random differences among the languages of the world. Random differences. This is not that much of a big fact, right? You can take this quite simply. There are completely random differences. We can't just say completely random differences. There are some differences among the languages of the world. Now, yesterday we talked about this, right? Hope you remember about the principles and parameters. By parameters, we say differences. Okay? Principles are the shared features, shared characteristics, whereas parameters are the differences. So there are differences, but not completely, right? We can't say one language is completely different from another language in the world. These differences lie at the superficial level, but within, right, at the underneath, all the languages share common features. Right? Next point, sentences a person produces directly reflect his or her grammatical knowledge. Now, this is also wrong. This point is related to competence versus performance, which we discussed yesterday. Can you remember? I told you there is competence and there is performance. And all the time, performance is not equal to competence, right? Okay. Can anybody who is observing you talking, right? Do you think can get an idea regarding the nature of your knowledge by listening to you? Now you all are listening to me now, right? Now while you are listening to me, while observing how I use language, can you get a very accurate idea regarding my grammar knowledge? Do you think so? No, you can't. Because there is always this difference between competence and performance. Okay, right? So this production, that means the performance, and grammatical knowledge means the grammatical competence, don't tally all the time. So I don't want to talk more about this thing because I discussed this point yesterday. So this is also a wrong belief, right? Fallacy. And there is only one sense of the term grammar. No, not only one sense. Although we use the word grammar in common, there are so many different meanings. We can talk about prescriptive grammar, descriptive grammar, competence, even performance related to grammar, right? There are several senses related to the term grammar, not only one meaning. The last one, equating the grammar of the spoken language with that of the written language. Equating means like understanding that grammar of both spoken and written languages are same. Equating means thinking that both are similar. What do you think about that? Do we have separate varieties like spoken variety and written variety? Now, there are students among you whose mother tongue is Sinhala, right? Okay. So, in Sinhala, we know clearly there are two varieties, don't we? We have Pathana Bhasha and Pathanithika Likita Bhasha. In Sinhala, I'm talking about Sinhala language, right? Spoken variety and the written variety, don't we? When you talk in Sinhala, now there are students among you whose mother tongue is Sinhala, right? Innavane? Yeah. So when you speak something in Sinhala, what is the variety you use? Spoken variety, not the written variety. You never ever hear a person speaking using the Likita Bhasha, written form? Never. Okay. What about Tamil? There are a lot of students whose mother tongue is Tamil here. Do you also have, do you think that Tamil language also has two varieties, spoken variety and the written variety? What about that? Any idea?
Yes, ma'am.
It's all,
Tamil we
yes,
have. Yes, ma'am.
we have.
I mean,
We
are
have two
they too different? Are there big differences between spoken and written varieties of the Tamil language?
Yes,
Same
yes,
like
ma'am.
Sinhala, ma'am.
Same like
Just
Sinhala. Like
okay,
Sinhala.
right, right. Okay, so what about English language then? English. English is the second language of all of you, including myself anyway. What about English? Do we have separate varieties like spoken variety and written variety in English? Yeah. Any idea? Oh, no idea.
Sorry, ma'am, I didn't get you. Can
I'm
you repeat
asking
it
when
again, please?
I'm asking whether English language also has two different varieties, spoken variety and written variety.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
I think no.
Things like that. Okay. Mary.
Broken
Okay, you
language.
are Mary, right? Oh, Subhatra, how can I call you? Mary or Subhatra? You have a long name, that's why.
What is
Very nice.
for you easy? You can call me.
But Mary, am I correct
Yeah,
in
it's
pronouncing name? I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
yeah, Mary
Right.
Subhatra.
Okay, okay, fine, nice. Right. Now, what about this, Hima? But I think we simplify words of English while we talk sometimes. We don't mind the grammar. Yes, right. Okay. Yes. The answer to my question is yes. Just like Sinhala and Tamil, maybe not up to that extent, right? But even in the English language also, we have separately spoken variety and the written variety. Because, yeah, Hima has correctly given an idea, right? Let me see. Because in English, just think about your use of the English language. When we use English for spoken purpose, right? To talk with our friends or with anybody else, sometimes don't you feel like that we use short sentences? Short sentences, quite informal words, and also quite familiar words, not unfamiliar words kind of thing, right? Very simple
Yeah,
vocabulary.
ma'am, we use it.
Yes. So these are the
Yeah.
characteristics of the spoken variety of the English language. But when you write in English, I'm talking about the formal situations, okay? Formal writings, then you may use long sentences with lot of phrases and clauses. Sometimes your vocabulary may be heavy, not that much light or simple. Complicated words you might prefer, and you might use maybe figures of speech. Okay, and you can convey the meaning at different levels. So there are a lot more features involved in the written variety, but in spoken variety, you are quite casual, light. Even if you are using the English language in formal situations, still you may use quite short sentences like that. Okay, so there and also use of jargons, slangs, about these slang terms, right? They occur in casual speech, in spoken variety. But in written variety, we never ever think of using slangs unless you type a message to a friend. Okay. So there are differences. Now, if I come back to the last point here, some people wrongly believe, right? Grammar of the spoken language is similar to the grammar of the written language. I am not telling that we are using two different sets of grammar rules for spoken and written. Same grammar set, right? Same set of grammar rules, but how we use them is different. That's the idea. How we use them is different when it comes to the spoken language and also to the written language. That's the idea. Not that we are using grammar in the same way. Okay, right. So these are some of the fallacies. I don't know whether you have any of these ideas, but just be aware. If you had any of these ideas so far, just get away from them, right? Get away from them. All these are wrong ideas, fallacies, right? Talking about the grammar of any language. All right. So our discussion on grammar is over. And we now come to the third sub area of the first lesson. That is, actually, this is not a lengthy one, very short description. Linguistics and the components of language. Now, this part is a kind of introduction, or can take it as a kind of introduction to what we are going to do in this module. Now, so far, I was explaining the nature of language, right? From the very first session up to now, I was explaining the nature of language, considering so many different aspects. And now I have come to the end of that discussion. At the end, I am just giving you an idea regarding the components of language. And remember, these are the components we are going to discuss in detail in our future sessions. Okay. So when we talk about the components, I introduced these components to you during my first discussion also, right? Okay, just see whether you remember them now. First set of components we identify as phonology. Actually, phonetics and phonology both go together. Main word is phonology. We can't talk about phonology without talking about phonetics, right? Okay, so in both phonetics and phonology, we study the speech sounds of a particular language. You can talk about the phonology, mostly phonology, right? When we talk about phonology, okay, before we come to this idea, what's the difference between these two terms? Now, can you remember these two words, phonology and phonetics? You can read the note at any time. Now I have already given it to you. But beyond the note, what do you understand? What else do you understand? Phonetics means, in simple terms, we study in phonetics area, we study the human speech sounds in isolation. One by one, we consider each and every human speech sound and we pay attention to how we produce them, right? One thing is how we produce them, and another aspect of phonetics, how the listener perceives them. And the third aspect is how do these sounds travel through the air. There are three areas in phonetics. We call them branches of phonetics. The proper terms are articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and auditory phonetics. Right? You know what articulatory? Articulate means produce. So in articulatory phonetics, we study how the speaker produces the human speech sounds. Like, for example, the sound per. If you talk about the sound per, then in articulatory phonetics, we study in detail how do we say this? How do we produce per? Like how? We use both our upper lip and the lower lip, and the airstream is coming. Now we are going to discuss this kind of things in detail, right, in our next lesson. In short, I am telling. So the airstream is coming from our lungs up to our mouth. It enters our mouth and it flows through the mouth and it comes up to the lips. But at the lips, we block the airstream because we tightly touch our upper lip and lower lip. When we say per, we tightly touch, then the airstream is blocked, but we do not like touch both lips forever. No? We touch and then suddenly release. So then the airstream is released. Per. That's how we produce. So we discuss this. What are the relevant speech organs that we need to produce sounds, right? And how do we use these speech organs like that? Discussing all these things, studying this happens in articulatory phonetics. In short, studying the production of sounds. And in auditory phonetics, we talk about how the listener perceives. Now, I'm talking here and you all are listening to me, right? So then what do you do? Actually, what do you do? Listening means what do you do? Are you hearing me? Are you simply listening to me? Or are you perceiving me? What do you do from these three things? Yeah. You have to understand the meanings of all these three words in order to answer. But what do you think about what's happening at the moment with you? Are you hearing me? Are you listening me? Are you perceiving me? Hearing me means while you are doing some other important work, you happen to hear me. Something like that. You do not listen to me purposely. You happen to hear me. Hearing. Listening means you listen to what I am telling. Okay, with the purpose. Purposely you listened. And third one, perceiving means you listen to me and try to understand what I am telling. You listen and you take the message which is caught by your ears up to your brain and try to analyze it, try to understand it and interpret it. So what do you do? Listening with concentration means perceiving. Okay, right. So in phonetics, we have another branch called auditory phonetics, where we study this perception, how the listener perceives human speech sounds. Okay, so the structure of the ear, how the sounds are received by the ear, and how the sounds, that message is taken up to the brain, this area. And inside the brain, how the sound is decoded, how the message is decoded, and how it's understood, interpreted, all these things are discussed in auditory phonetics branch. Okay. And the third one is acoustic phonetics, where we talk about physical properties of the sounds. Human speech sounds, especially talking about how they travel through air. Now I am the speaker, you are the listener here. And for you to listen, for you to hear me, the sounds should travel from me up to you. Now we are meeting in an online forum. Just think about on-site place like physical classroom. So the speaker is there and the listeners are there. So usually we know sounds are traveling like waves. Okay. So there are machines to measure these waves, these fluctuations of the waves. So that is purely, totally scientific study. And that is called acoustic phonics. Okay, so these are the three branches of phonetics. And then phonology. Phonology means studying the study of the speech sounds of a particular language. Right? Here, you don't have the complete idea about phonology. But remember, in phonology, unlike in phonetics, we deal with, so we study how we can express a meaning by combining human speech sounds together. There, we do not worry about how to produce each and every sound, right? We do not talk about that. That is covered in phonetics. In phonology, we study how we can combine several different speech sounds together to convey a message, to convey a meaning. That is the area of phonology. Right, Hima? What's the problem? Acoustic phonetics simply means, okay, acoustic phonetics, in that branch, we talk about, or we study actually, right? All these are study areas. So in acoustic phonetics, we study how these human speech sounds travel through air. That is the basic idea. So usually now it's a known fact now everybody knows sounds travel through air like waves. Okay, you know what waves are? අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ තරංග කියලා. Right? So sounds travel like waves in the air. So that is known by everybody, but people, the linguists who are studying about this further and further, they have a lot more things to study, right? This they go beyond simply telling sounds travel like waves. They have some machines to measure how sounds travel through air. Right now, there are some fluctuations like this of these waves, and they have some equipments to measure these fluctuations and identify the properties, means characteristics, physical characteristics of the sounds. Okay, so this kind of things happens in acoustic phonetic field. So usually we do not do that. Okay, we means the general public, right? We are average people. We are not involved in such studies. Usually, that's a scientific field, right? Acoustic phonetics takes place in labs, in language labs, where you collect data, means sounds, and analyze them like that. Okay. Hima, I don't know whether you got an idea now. Very briefly, I told you, right? So you don't have to think too much, but remember, you all have to have a clear idea regarding first one, articulatory phonetics, because our next lesson is totally based on articulatory phonetics, not auditory or acoustic phonetics, but you have to know all the three, right? At least briefly, you have to know all the three. Well, so phonology, I told you there we talk about how to combine sounds to express a meaning. Right. So then from language to language, there are differences in phonology, not in phonetics. Phonetics means individual sounds. No? So in Sinhala, in Tamil, in English, I mean, these are the three known languages for us. So we produce these sounds quite same. Per sound is there in Sinhala. It's there in Tamil also, right? It's there in English also. Likewise, phonetics is quite common to almost all the languages because we have more or less the same sounds in any language. But how we combine these sounds is different from language to language, which means phonology is language specific. Remember that. Phonology is language. We don't find Sinhala phonology in Tamil phonology because in Sinhala we combine sounds in particular ways, but in Tamil we combine sounds in some other ways. In English, we combine sounds yet in another way. So phonology is different from language to language. That is why I told you phonology is language specific. But phonetics quite common to all the languages. So may I know whether you got some idea about what I was telling regarding phonology and phonetics, this part? Confused or Anusha?
Clear, madam.
Anusha, your name is very familiar to me. Yeah. Very familiar. I don't know from how. Have you been a SLIAC student?
No, madam. I am from College of Education, madam.
Okay. So there must have
College
been
of
another
Education,
student.
madam.
Yes. I must have another student with your name then, maybe. You're quite familiar name, that's why. Okay, right. Fine. I hope so far I am clear to all of you, right? Then we have morphology, the next component, because as the first component, we talk about both phonetics and phonology, right? As a first component. Hima, really? I can't remember. Anyway, okay. But name is familiar again, right, Rima? I'm so sorry. I didn't remember. Yes. Morphology, this is second component. That means we consider morphology to be at the second level of linguistic analysis. And in morphology, we just go a little bit beyond the sound level. Beyond the sound level, of course, we have the word level. So morphology is study of the structure or form of words in a particular language and of their classification. In morphology, we talk about the word formation. We study the internal structure of the words, right? And that is also language specific because Sinhala morphology is totally different from Tamil morphology, and English morphology is also different. Okay, from language to language, how we form words is different, right? And of their classification means classification of words. Now, in morphology, we talk about word formation processes also, right? So morphology is a very vast area, and we are going to talk about morphology as well in this course, right? And then third one, syntax. In syntax, that is actually the next level. After the word level, we talk about the sentence level. So the study of the order and arrangement of words into larger units. Ordering and arranging words into larger units means into phrases and sentences, as well as the relationships holding between elements in these hierarchical units. So we are discussing or we are studying in syntax how we arrange words to form sentences, to form phrases and sentences. And at the same time, we study what sort of relationships we can find among the words in a sentence, like between subject and the verb, between the words in subject position and verb position, and between the verb position and object position likewise. The sort of relationships that we can find between and among these elements. So this is the nature of the study area called syntax. And then we have semantics and pragmatics. In semantics, we study the meaning, how meaning is conveyed in words, phrases, or clauses, even sentences, right? In pragmatics, we study the functions of language and its use in context. Actually, you can understand both in semantics and pragmatics, we deal with meaning, right? But in semantics, we talk about meaning mostly at a superficial level, conceptual meaning. But in pragmatics, we deal with how meaning changes according to the particular situation where we use that word or sentence. According to the context, how meaning changes, right? That is discussed or studied in pragmatics. So that's the nature of pragmatics. Then these are the components of language. I very briefly talked about them because these are the components we are going to discuss in the coming topics of this module. Okay, right? Yes, that's it. So may I know whether you got some idea about the components of language, this latter part? Some idea, I mean, not everything very clearly because I didn't discuss these components in detail as I'm going to do it in the coming sessions. Okay, right. So shall I move on to our next lesson then? Because I have to send you the note also. So shall I close this if this is all right? Yes or no?
Yes, madam.
Okay, madam.
Okay, right. Then I'm going to send you. Wait, I'm going to send you the note of the next lesson. I need Few seconds for that. We have actually our next lesson is starting with the first component, right? That is phonetics and phonology. They are phonetics, right? So the topic is consonants and vowels. Please check your chat boxes. And please tell me whether you received got it? The PDF, the name is consonants and vowels. Did you get that? Okay, right. Well, so you can get a print out, of course, right? It will be easy for you to refer. I will share it now, right? Okay. Well, I told you in the coming session, so in the coming topics of this module, we'll be dealing with the components of the language. Components means phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. Okay, you have to understand these are not narrow areas. These are very wide. Okay, but according to the availability of the time, I try my level best to be detailed to you during my discussions. Okay, right. So then accordingly, we'll be starting with the first component. First component means phonetics and phonology, but mostly we are dealing with phonetics part. Phonetics, in phonetics also, now there are three branches now. Just a few minutes ago, I introduced the three branches of phonetics: articulatory, auditory, and acoustic phonetics. But among these three branches, we'll be discussing the first branch only in phonetics. That means articulatory phonetics. Okay. In articulatory phonetics, what do we mean? We talk about studying the production of articulation means production. Studying the production of human speech sounds. All right. So then what do you mean by these human speech sounds? They are the consonants, vowels, diphthongs, triphthongs, semivowels. Actually, if you classify these sounds, human speech sounds, these are the categories. And from these categories, from these several categories, the most important two major categories are consonants and vowels. Okay, diphthong is a kind of vowel, whereas semi-vowel is a kind of again vowel that has both consonant and vowel qualities. So the two major categories are consonants and vowels. So that is why your topic is given as consonants and vowels. So then remember, we are going to discuss further about articulatory phonetics. That means talking about how we produce these consonants and vowels. Okay, right. So then first of all, we will start our discussion with the consonant. Consonant sounds, because compared to the vowel sounds, consonants are quite easier to understand, quite easier to observe, Notice and understand. Okay, right. And after that, let's talk about the vowel sounds. Then now you got this knot today, right? Just now you got this knot. Mm. So, what shall we do? You didn't have time to go through this, right? Yeah, okay. I'll give you small reading time because I sent it now. Just go rush through this introductory part of consonant sounds. You don't have to bother about opening your notes. They are in my screen now. Can read on my screen. Right? Just quickly go through this part and be familiar with the consonant sounds because we are starting this anew now, all new, right? Okay. Hope you went through this part. Okay, this is just a beginning of what we are going to discuss in detail. Both consonants and vowels are introduced here, but before that, of course, now I think you could get some idea regarding the opening lines. So that's the natural situation. Okay, speech is a phonetic continuum. Continuum means like it's like this. අපි සිංහල කියන්නේ සරල රේඛීයයි කියන්නේ. Okay. Speech happens in a phonetic continuum, right? Sound continuum. Continuous, smoothly flowing set of movements. Not a set of discrete and isolated movements. Now, I am talking, even when anyone is talking, we can find there are so many sounds produced one after the other. And everything, even if there are a lot of words in our utterances, we produce all these words and their sounds one after the other, right? At a stretch, like a string, like a string. So it's convenient, however, to segment the speech chain into syllables. Now, for the purpose of studying these sounds, what do we have to do? Now, these sounds occur in a string, in a continuous string. But for the purpose of studying these sounds, we have to break this continuum. We have to break this chain. So the better way to break this chain is to divide it into or break it into syllables. right? And after we divide the whole utterance into syllables, then within syllables, we can identify again some sounds like consonants and vowels. Okay, now may I know whether you have some idea about syllables? Here also you have some point, but do you know anything about syllables? Can I know? Or is it somewhat new to you? May I have some idea regarding what you know about syllables? Is that new? The word syllable? Hmm? I don't think I asked difficult question. Do you know syllables? That's my question. So your answer is either yes or no. By the way, are you
Yes.
all listening to me? Kaushalya, okay. Yes, you have some idea about syllables. Now, syllable is a sound unit. It's a kind of sound unit, and we can definitely find a vowel sound inside the syllable. Okay, and with this vowel sound, there can be consonants or not. So, syllable is a particular speech unit that compulsorily contains a vowel with or without consonants, right? Now, usually in simple terms, when you produce some or when you say some words, sometimes at the beginning of, sorry, in the middle of certain words, you can feel a kind of pause, right? You can feel a kind of pause. Where is that pause? Actually, what do you mean by that pause? That is a syllable boundary. That pause means you are moving from one syllable to another syllable and very slight pause is there. Okay, right? So now we just take any word you like from this list. Any word you like? Okay, movements. Movements. That's quite a lengthy word. We'll go for something. Okay, vowel, right? Think about this word, vowel. This word. I'm talking about this word. How many syllables are there? Now I told about the nature of a syllable. Now tell me how many syllables are there in the word vowels. Yes. There are two syllables. One syllable you can find here in the first part, and the second syllable you can find in the latter part. So if you divide the word into the syllables, you can draw the dividing line here. Now, what is the basis for you to identify these two syllables containing vowel sounds? In the vowel sounds, right? Now, vowels is the example word. There we can find two vowels. First syllable, wa, the vowel is there, and the second syllable, vowels. Okay, just think about another word like this for you to be clearer about the syllables. Right. What do you think about this word? How many syllables are there? This word. I think you all can see the word I have written here on screen. Export. Export. How many syllables? Yes, Sasus. Correct. You have two syllables, right? You can draw the line here. Right? X is the first syllable, port is the second syllable. Yes, there are two. So now, how Because in the first syllable, you have one vowel and two consonants. I didn't write this word in phonetics, okay? So, if you can write the word in phonetics, you can clearly identify what are the vowels, what are the consonants like that. But even without writing it in phonetics, you can pronounce the word, then find out, practically you can pronounce the word, then you can notice the vowels and consonants. So this is export. Export, the first syllable you have A, the vowel A, and the second syllable you have the vowel O. So two vowels means two units, two syllables, like that. Okay, so inside each and every syllable, definitely you find a vowel. And sometimes you find consonants, one consonant, two consonants, and sometimes even three consonants. And sometimes in some other syllables, you find only the vowel sound, no consonants. No consonants like this. Okay. Example, this one. A-R-E. This is the B verb, right? Indicating the plural number in the present form. We are birds in that sentence are, right? Now, what do you think about the syllables? Are is a word, no, in English. Syllables, how many? If you write this word in phonetics, that means if you write the pronunciation, we have to write it like this. Okay? This is the pronunciation. R. A-R-E, that is the spellings, the letters, but we write the pronunciation like this, R. So what is this? This is only one vowel.
One.
Yes, only one vowel, no consonants. No consonants. So the deciding factor is this, remember. If we identify anything as a syllable, necessarily there should be a vowel. With or without consonants. Consonant is not compulsory. Okay, syllable is something like that, right? Okay, so be aware, be familiar with the syllable unit, and then within syllables we can find, as I told you, vowels and consonants, right? Okay, so come back to our note here. I'm going to clear all these writings, right? Okay. Then a syllable consists necessarily of a vowel. Optionally, it may begin and or end with a consonant, right? A vowel is the nucleus or acoustic high point of a syllable. I told you compulsorily vowel should be there. Nucleus means the center. Center, the most important sound of a syllable. And it is articulated for a longer time than surrounding consonants. Now, usually when we produce a vowel sound, export, the pronunciation of the vowel is longer than the pronunciation of the consonants. Even port, O is longer than the other consonants. Okay, so that is something like that is there. And then we have vowels and consonant discussion. We are coming to the discussion of consonants and vowels. Now, if you compare, we are going to talk about consonants in detail after this. But at the beginning, if you simply compare consonant sounds and vowel sounds, there's a very big difference. Okay, there is a very big difference, and that difference is indicated in this line, which I have put an asterisk with. While consonants tend to continue the airstream, while vowels tend to continue the airstream, consonants tend to break it. Do you understand this idea, this fact? Okay, I can tell it like this, right? Okay, very briefly I will tell here. When we produce sounds, whether they are consonants or vowels or whatever, right? When we produce any sound, we have to get the support from the airstream, right? Airstream. It produces, okay, airstream is originated inside the lungs. Now, before talking, we are living. To live, we need to breathe. Okay, we breathe in and breathe out, don't we? We do. Breathe in means inhaling and breathe out means exhaling. So then that is our normal way. Without inhaling and exhaling, we will die. Okay, we have to live now. So they are definitely automatically we inhale and exhale. Now think about a situation where we talk. Okay, when you talk, do you talk? Talking means you produce sounds, no? Do you talk during your inhalation or exhalation? Now tell me. In other words, while you are talking, are you inhaling or exhaling? Are you breathing in or breathing out while you are talking? Now just say something and feel it. I need an answer to that. Is my question clear? That's a very, very simple question. Is that clear? ප්‍රශ්න තේරුණාද? Yeah. If I repeat it, what is this? Okay, Ash, right. I think the question is clear to you, right? When we now we produce sounds when we inhale or exhale. That is my question. Definitely during exhalation, right? Because during inhalation we can't talk. Even if you try, you can't. While you are breathing in, no, Kumuduni, are you sure? Are you sure you talk during your breathing in? No. Even if you try, you can't. Because when we talk, we have to have a kind of energy, no? Right? When we talk, we produce sounds. To produce sounds, we need to have some energy. And from where do we get that energy? From our exhaled air. Exhaled air provides us with that energy to produce sound. So always during exhalation, we produce sounds. Remember. Yes, when we talk, we exhale. When we exhale, we talk. Okay, not during the inhalation. Okay, then I want to talk about this airstream. This airstream is the airstream which we exhale. Exhaled airstream. Breathing out airstream. Okay, so from where does it come? This breathing in, breathing out, these things function inside our lungs, no? Right? So the after we breathe in, we breathe out, and that exhaled airstream is produced inside the lungs, and after that, that airstream goes out of the lungs, come upwards, and enters our mouth. Enters our mouth. Our exhalation airstream enters our mouth. Okay, right. So then think about the production of vowel and consonant here. I will give you two sounds, right? Okay, this is, I am giving you the phonetic symbols, right? This is a vowel sound. Usually we write the phonetic symbols with two slashes like this, so that anybody reading this can understand that I am writing a sound, okay, using phonetic symbol. And this is another sound. This is a, what is this? Consonant. There is the vowel sound R, and the next sound, the consonant sound D. Right. Okay. You can produce these two sounds one by one after the other. And tell me, what do you do to that exhaled airstream? What do you do to that exhaled airstream? Don't take a long time to check it. Yes. Mhm. Hmm. Yes. Okay, Hima has given an idea. What about the others? Are they still producing the two sounds? Hmm? Yeah. When we say ah means the vowel sound, right? When we produce the air stream, this exhaled air stream, I asked you to check what do we do to that, right? It passes through the oral tract, through the mouth without any disturbance. You just switch off your mics and say produce right? Only your speech organs are shaping. Your lips, maybe your tongue, all are shaping the airstream, and that's all. You don't block the airstream. It flows very freely through the inside the mouth. Even any other vowel you can check, right? Not only there are so many other vowels. E, A, U, O, all the vowels are like that. But what do you do to the airstream when you say the? The is one example for consonants, right? When you say the or produce the, you block the airstream at a particular point inside the mouth, right? You block the airstream and then release it, the. And per, another consonant. You block the airstream in saying per. And ter, ch, j, l, n, m, etc. All are consonants. So you find at any, whatever a point inside the mouth, you block the airstream, right? You block the airstream. Unlike the production of a vowel sound. That is the difference between vowel and consonant production. So I think you can understand the meaning of this line. While vowels tend to continue their stream, consonants tend to break it. So when we produce consonants, we break the air stream by disturbing, by blocking it. But when we produce vowels, it continuously, air stream continuously flows through the mouth and finally it goes out of the body through the mouth. Okay, right. So then we are going to start our discussion with the consonant sound production because compared to the vowel sounds, the articulation or the production of consonants is quite easy to locate, to understand. Okay, right. Now, here, yes, the topic is actually classification of consonants. We'll go to the classification of consonants. Here, you can find one major classification. That means 4 features are there, right? Consonants are classified according to 4 features. I think you can follow the first line. A consonant is defined as a speech sound which is articulated with some kind of stricture or closure of the airstream. This is important. Articulated with some kind of stricture or closure of the airstream. Stricture, kind of disturbance, blocking. Closure means also the same, right? So the simple idea is when we produce consonants, we block the airstream at any point inside the mouth. Right. So such consonants can be classified according to 4 features here. You can find these 4 features in red color on my screen. Right. First one, state of the glottis. Second one, state of the velum. Place of articulation, manner of articulation. So next we are going to talk about the consonant sounds one by one. But before that, you need to get some idea regarding these 4 features. Right? State of the glottis. Okay, just give me 1 second. I want to close the slideshow just to see whether we have this one. Hope you also have this diagram with you, okay? Right? If it's possible, you can open your note, or else you can view on my screen here. Now we are going to have a look at these 4 features of consonant sounds. First one, state of the glottis, right? According to the state of the glottis or function of the glottis, we can classify all the consonant sounds into voiced consonants and voiceless consonants. Voiced and voiceless consonants. Right, now where is this glottis? We have to find the glottis. Actually, in this diagram, you can see the glottis is marked here. Okay, I can tell it like this. Actually, glottis is the space which you find in between your vocal cords. Right? Now in Sinhala, you have the word swaratantra. You must have heard the word swaratantra. Vocal cords in English. Okay. Now these vocal cords are located inside the larynx. And larynx is somewhere inside your throat. Somewhere here. Inside your throat. When we discuss phonetics, we never use the word throat, right? We use the word larynx. That's the phonetic term. Larynx is the particular organ that is located here inside the throat. And inside the larynx, you have the vocal cords, right? Okay. So then the thing is this, when we produce sounds, when we talk or when we produce sounds, sometimes we give a kind of voicing. Some other times, these sounds are not voiced. Some sounds are voiced, some sounds are not voiced. Voiced or voiceless. How do you know that? If your vocal cords are vibrating rapidly, when you produce some sounds, then you can say you produce voiced sounds. If the vocal cords are vibrating very rapidly. If the vocal cords are not vibrating very rapidly, remember all the time vocal cords are vibrating, right? You can't talk without vibrating your vocal cords. But the thing is, sometimes they are vibrating rapidly, some other times they are not vibrating that rapidly. So in such situations, we produce voiceless consonants, voiceless sounds, when the vocal cords are not vibrating very rapidly. Okay. So then what about this glottis? Glottis is the space between the vocal cords. No? So then these vocal cords are vibrating with a reason. Because now, you know, I will go to the screen here. I'm explaining this first feature to you, okay? Right, now here you have the larynx. This is where you have the larynx. And the air stream comes from this way. Okay, airstream, because lungs are down here now. Airstream is coming from the lungs and comes upwards and right enters the larynx. So when the airstream enters the larynx, sometimes there is a space there so that the airstream can easily enter the larynx. And this space is actually the space in the middle of the vocal cords. Because in such a situation, these vocal cords are quite apart. They are kept apart. leaving a space in the middle so that the airstream will enter the larynx through this space. This space is called glottis. So we say glottis is open, right? We say glottis is open. Airstream enters the larynx through the glottis. Now, you know, simply when there is a space, it is easy for the airstream to enter. No? When there is a space, there is no pressure there, right? Easily airstream enters and flows through it. So similarly, here also, as the glottis is open, airstream enters through it and passes through the larynx and goes out of the larynx, finally. Goes out of the larynx. Not producing a very big pressure. So the vocal cords are not vibrating, right? But we can find a different situation also. Different situation means when the airstream comes in this way, right? When it is trying to enter the larynx, this space may be closed. In a situation where the vocal cords are tightly kept close to each other like this. Earlier situation, vocal cords were like this, right? Space is there. But in another situation, vocal cords are tightly touched to each other. No space. But somehow the airstream should pass through this, no? Okay, for it to go up. So then airstream very difficultly passes through the vocal cords when there is no space. So we say glottis is closed. As a result, what does happen? There is a very big pressure created. Because of the pressure, these vocal cords are vibrating. Okay, these vocal cords are vibrating. And we produce voiced sound, voiced consonant. So that is how we produce voiced and voiceless consonants. Voiced consonants are produced when the airstream causes vibration of the vocal cords. And voiceless consonants are produced when the airstream doesn't cause vibration of the vocal cords. Is that clear? Did you get some idea about the first feature? So whether we produce voiced consonant or voiceless consonant is decided by what then? State of the glottis, whether the glottis is open or closed. If the glottis is open, no vibration of the vocal cords because there is a space, no? We produce voiceless consonants. When the glottis is closed, there is no space. So the vocal cords are vibrating, we produce voiced consonant. That's what I was explaining now. Is that clear? For a simple example for voiced and voiceless consonants, just think about these two sounds and tell me which is voiced and which is voiceless, okay? Is a familiar one to you now? But we use lips to produce both sounds, right? P and B. Then what is the voiced consonant and what is the voiceless consonant? Tell me. Your vocal cords are vibrating when you produce which consonant sounds? P or B?
B. Vibrating. B.
Others? Yes. B is voiced and we say P is voiceless. The vocal cords, actually vocal cords are vibrating in both situations. Whenever we talk, you simply touch your throat when you are talking, right? Always you can feel the vibrations. But sometimes we feel heavy vibration like P and B. When you say P, you feel vibrations. But when you say B, you feel more vibrations, heavy vibrations. Right? So you are correct. Per is voiceless. Ber is voiced. And I hope you are clear with the first feature, right? Second feature, state of the vellum. Vellum is another word for soft palate. Now, I think I have to go down to the diagram, right? This diagram. Okay, now look at this. Where is the vellum now? Did you find the place of the vellum? Vellum is this, right? This particular place is vellum. Not uvula, not the hanging thing, right? Vellum is the area before uvula. Right. Now the thing is this. When we are talking, sometimes this vellum is lowered like what you find here in this picture. In this image, you can find the vellum is lowered. Lowered means there is a space here, right? Can you see? So now the airstream is coming up now. From lungs, it passes the larynx and it comes up. And at this point, as the vellum is lowered, you can find a space there so that airstream enters the what? Nasal cavity through the space. Airstream enters the nasal cavity, flows through the nasal cavity, goes out of the body through the nose, right? Some other times this vellum is raised. Okay. Sometimes we find not like this, not like in this picture, the vellum is raised. Okay, I will draw it like this. It's like this. Vellum is raised. Raising means this entrance to the nasal cavity is blocked. So anymore, the airstream cannot enter the nasal cavity, right? So what does happen then? Airstream will enter the oral cavity only because there's no space now to enter the nasal cavity. It enters the oral cavity, flows through the mouth and goes out of the body through the mouth. Clear? So these are two directions, two tracks along which the airstream passes through, right? So when the airstream passes through the oral cavity and goes out of the body through the mouth, we say we produce oral sounds. Here we are talking about consonants or oral consonants, right? And when the airstream enters the nasal cavity, passes through the nasal cavity, goes out of the body through nose, we say we produce what sounds? Can you guess?
M,
We produce nasal sounds, nasal consonants. Then we can classify consonants into oral consonants and nasal consonants. Oral and nasal. So now you know the difference between nasal consonants and oral consonants. Nasal consonants are produced when the airstream passes through the nasal cavity. Oral consonants are produced when the airstream passes through the oral cavity. But what does decide which track the airstream should select? This vellum. If the vellum is lowered, this space is there, I'm repeating, airstream enters the nasal cavity, producing nasal sounds. But if the vellum is raised, there's no space, right? So that airstream enters the oral cavity only and produces oral consonants. Clear? Second feature, is that clear? I'm erasing these things, right? Do you want me to keep these drawings? I'm going to close the slideshow. If you want me to keep this to write, I can just wait few more seconds. Okay. Okay. Just if you have a hard copy, no, you can't have a hard copy. No, it's only today I sent the note, but you can take a screenshot or a photo so that later on you can add these things to your image. Try do it. Tell me when you are done. Okay. Right. Going to this. Right. Okay. I was talking about first and second features regarding the classification of consonant sounds, right? Third feature, place of articulation. And the last one, manner of articulation. So these two are very, very important. Actually, all the four are important. But when you have place of articulation, that means the location where the stricture or place of maximum interference occurs and what articulators are involved. So stricture means blocking of the airstream or place of maximum interference. Maximum interference done to the airstream. Where do you do it? Is it at the lips? Or is it at the velum? Is it at the alveolar ridge? Is it at the heart parrot? Likewise, the places can vary where we disturb the airstream. Accordingly, we have different types of consonant sounds according to the place of articulation. We are going to talk about these things, right? So therefore, that is the third feature. Fourth feature is manner of articulation. Here we talk about not about the place, right? But about the amount of stricture, right? That means how far do we block? Are we blocking the airstream completely? Or are we blocking the airstream only partly, right? Partial. Is the blocking complete or partial or relatively open? Like there are some terms, close approximation, open approximation. Likewise, there are different terms to introduce these things. So in manner of articulation, we basically talk about how do we block the airstream. In place of articulation, we talk about where do we block the airstream. Accordingly, we can classify consonant sounds into different types. Okay, right. So we are going to discuss these in bit more detail. Actually, I'll be talking about place of articulation and manner of articulation in detail, right? I need to talk about their types there. Okay, then in this part, I want to talk about the consonant sounds. There are so many consonant sounds. How many consonants are there? There are 22 consonants, right? 22, and there are two semivowels. So altogether, including the two semivowels, we have 24 list. 24 consonants. So I will introduce them. You have the list. Although I'm showing one by one here, right? You have the whole list in your note. So I'm just showing them one by one and see, look at my screen. You can refer to your note later. Now look at my screen and try to catch these sounds. Now you need to be aware of the sound as well as the phonetic symbol. This phonetic symbol is equally important, right? For this phonetic symbol is how we write the sound. What is the sound here? I have written some words and underlined the particular places where you find that sound. The sound is P, not P, right? P is the letter, sound is P. And this is how we write the sound P. Putting it inside two slashes like this. Next. Actually, letter and sound, phonetic symbol, both are same, both look same. So therefore, you can easily remember the phonetic symbols too. But all the consonants are not like that, right? Second consonant, the sound is B, like in bottle, symbol is that. Next one, K, like in cat, kite, now you know. C-A-T, in letters are C-A-T, but the sound is K in cat. First consonant sound is K. So this is the symbol, right? Next one, G, like in garden, and T, like in top, D, like in dot, F, like in fan, B, like in van, and M, like in mother, N, like in knock, and this is a new one. This sound is not new, you know the sound, but identify the sound. And symbol is also a little bit unfamiliar as I think. If you have not learned phonetics earlier, this symbol may be new to you. Okay, what is the sound? This is ink. The middle sound of the word ink. All of you can produce the word ink, no, I-N-K. They are the middle sound, ng. And you find that ng at the end of nothing also. At the end of the word nothing, ng. This is how we write the symbol. It looks like n, but we drag it down like ng. Okay, right? What is the Sinhala word for bread? Those who know Sinhala can say. The Sinhala word for bread. In Sinhala, what do we say for bread? You don't know? Bread, loaf. Sorry, loaf of bread. Something which you eat. Yes. Palm. Palm. So there you get that sound. Do you say pan or palm? දැන් ටයර්ඩ් වුණාම මොකද කියන්නේ පාන් කියා ගන්න බෑ කියලානේ කියන්නේ. එහෙම කියන අහලා තියෙන්නේ නේද? Like you must have heard, not bread, right? So we say ng sound at the end of the word palm. We never use our tip of the tongue and touch it with the alveolar ridge. No, when you say palm, කියන්නේ it's difficult to say. We say palm, ng sound. Like the singular word for lion. What is the singular word for lion? There also you get that word. Singha, ng sound. Okay, right. I think you know the sound. Just be familiar with the phonetic symbol. And the next consonant is this. This is also new, right? This symbol is new. You know the sound. This is th, like thin, thick, th sound. This is the symbol. And the next consonant is the. This, they, that. We have the symbol is this. Right. And the next consonant is familiar one, s, like in said, right? The next one, z, like zoo. Zoo, there are a lot of words that contain z. sound. Zoo is one. And you have zip, right? Zombie, z sound, right? Next, quite unfamiliar symbol again. What is the sound? Can you find the sound? I have underlined the words.
Sure.
The sound
Sure.
is sh. Yeah, sh, sh. Like shoe, shop, the beginning sound of these words. This is the symbol, right? You have to write it like this. Right. Sh sound. Make sure to draw lines like this. Next one is also quite unfamiliar symbol, but I hope you use this sound. Now, how do you say this word actually? I have underlined the latter part of this word. What is the word? How do you say this word? Please tell me.
Pleasure.
Again.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
It is not pleasure, right? If we say pleasure, we get sh sound, like in shop and shoe. But this is, we have to voice this, right? Pleasure. Pleasure, not pleasure. Pleasure. And also we get this j sound in measure, leisure. But you must have heard people are telling pleasure, measure, leisure. That is not totally correct. Okay. The sound should be j sound. J sound, pleasure. Okay, now symbol is this. This is j. Okay, right. So be familiar with that. And the next one, it's clear. Sound is l, like in lay. Next one r, like in run. And the next one h, like in hen, hot, etc. And this symbol, be familiar. The sound is ch, like chin, church. Okay, this is the symbol. And the next consonant, j, like judge. When you say judge, both beginning and end sounds are similar to this sound, right? J sound. The symbol is this. Okay, right. And that's all. These are the 22 consonants. I think up to this sound, we have 22. 22 consonants are there. And to this list, I have added the two semi-vowels. We call them half consonant, half vowels also. W and y, right? You have w, this one, and like worry, when. Now, rather than blocking the airstream, what do you do when you produce w? Like, what is your name? When, worry, you round your lips, right? You round your lips and through the lips, your airstream goes out. You shape the airstream rather than fully blocking it. Similarly, when you say yellow, ear sound, you raise the body of your tongue closer to the hard palate. In a way, like shaping the airstream. Shaping the airstream, manipulating the airstream, right? Not completely blocking it. So these two, the last two, w and y are considered to be semi-vowels, right? They are semi-vowels. Remember that. If you want, you can get a screenshot of this slide. And when you get the hard copy of the note, you can add the details, right? There are two semi-vowels then. These are the two, w and y. Up to this point, we have consonants, 22 consonants. Right, now, are these consonant sounds clear to you? Now, it's this lot which we classify according to the oral nasal categories, voiced and voiceless categories, place of articulation, manner of articulation, right? We classify these consonant sounds, especially these 22 consonant sounds. Okay, right. Then we have this place of articulation. What about this place? Actually, I was talking continuously. So now I'm going to give you another small, yeah, we don't have much time left anyway, never mind. Very small reading time because we have several different types of consonants that have been identified according to the place of articulation. There are 10 different consonants, right? These 22 consonants we can classify into 10 types, and the basis is where do we produce them? Place of articulation. So just roughly go through these 10 and get an idea regarding their particular places and see whether you can catch these ideas. Okay? Okay. We go through. Now, do you have some idea about the nature of the place of articulation? I hope you have simply gone through these 10 different types of consonant sounds, right? Okay. So the first one, bilabial. We'll go through them. What is the particular place of articulation of the bilabial consonants then? It will be easy if you if you are able to understand these words. Bi means two, no? And labial is a word for lips. Bilabial, two lips. So bilabial consonants are produced at the two lips, both upper lip and the lower lip. Both lips are needed, are necessary to produce bilabial consonants, which means both lips are brought together. Usually both lips are brought together, although we say so, it's the lower lip which is active, right? Lower lip goes up and touches the upper lip. That's what's normally happening when we talk, right? Rather than the upper lip, we move the lower lip upwards. And that is why we say here the lower lip is active, right? And the tongue is not doing anything important here. Tongue is not involved but remains in the rest position. Its position when you say for the doctor, right? Rest position, you know, right? One example of bilabial sound. Actually, there are 3 bilabial consonants. In the note, I have given one only. B. B is a bilabial, and earlier we discussed another bilabial. What is that? Can you remember?
P.
P, right?
P.
P, B, and there's another one. 3 bilabial consonants. P, B, and what's the other one?
M.
Right. Because we have to bring our both lips together to say ma also. Without that, we can't say ma, no? Right. Ma. These are the 3 bilabial consonants. Right. And the second category, labiodental. Labiodental, labio means lips, dental means teeth. So the place is both lips and teeth. But we have 2 lips and 2 teeth. Right? Which lip and which teeth? You need to be clear with that when we talk about the production of labiodental sounds. Lower lip and the upper teeth. Not upper teeth and lower. Upper lip and lower teeth, not like that. It is always lower lip is brought up against the upper front teeth when we produce labiodental consonants. Again, the tongue is in rest position and there are 2 labiodental sounds. One is given here, fur. Fur. Now you can just say fur and feel, right? Feel, or you can see it when I produce here also. Fur, we bite our lower lip with the upper teeth, right? So kind of, we can say bite. I think you can understand what I mean.
V. Also.
Yes, the other is V.
V.
There are 2 labiodental. One is F, the other one B. F is voiceless, B is voiced. That's the only difference. Both are labiodental consonant sounds. All right. Third one, dental. Dental sounds are produced at the teeth. Dental means teeth, no? And at the upper teeth, actually. Not the lower teeth, upper teeth. So here, the tip of the tongue protrudes between the teeth or touches the back of the upper teeth. Simply, we touch the upper teeth with the tip of the tongue. Tip of the tongue, you know, here, when I put my tongue out, you would see the tip of the tongue, right? So when we raise the tip of the tongue and touch the upper teeth, we produce dental consonants. Okay. One in Spanish, we do not know about Spanish, but you have an example from Spanish theater sound. But this one, I haven't given the phonetic symbol, only the letters. What is the sound? Did you notice the sound? There are 2 dental consonants actually. One is given here, the. What is the other one? Other
The,
dental consonant? Yes. The and the are the dental consonants. Only two dental consonants. The. You simply produce these things, okay? You don't have to switch on your mic. You simply switch off it and produce these sounds. You need to feel it. Then you will remember. Right. Then alveolar, number 4, alveolar. We'll talk about alveolar category and then we continue the next day, right? Because I can't cover all the places of articulation today itself. Alveolar consonants. Here we touch the tip of the tongue with of course, we touch the alveolar ridge, okay? With the tip of the tongue. Now you need to find out where your alveolar ridge is. It's actually soon after your upper teeth. Alveolar ridge is a particular area which is located soon after your upper teeth. Right? Here the examples, the is given as an example, but not in Sri Lankan English. Just think about this one. La, like when you say like or let, la sound. Where do you touch with your tip of the tongue? A particular place, no, when you say la, and also when you say na, like in not, na, and also when you say sa, you don't completely touch the alveolar ridge, but your tip of the tongue goes closer to the alveolar ridge when you say sa. In all these three sounds, we touch the alveolar ridge, or we almost touch the alveolar ridge with the tip of the tongue. So such sounds are called alveolar consonants because we produce them by touching the alveolar ridge. Okay, did you find your alveolar ridge? Is it, its location, is it clear to you? You found it, right? Yeah, you simply produce these three sounds. You touched your alveolar ridge there. Usually you can't see it. Even if you go in front of a mirror, you can't see your alveolar ridge, right? You can only feel it with your tongue. Okay, alveolar consonants are like that. And we'll continue, right, the next day because I don't want to discuss the rest in a hurry. And I think I have spoken too much today. You must have been tired because of listening continuously to me. So let's wind up our discussion at this point. Okay, place of articulation. And before closing, of course, I have to ask from you now, what about your availability during the weekdays? Just for my knowledge, my information I'm asking from you, right? What about your availability during the weekdays? May I
Can,
know
madam.
Sorry. Do you have lectures in all the 5 days?
No, madam.
What are your off in the sense lecture free days?
They give the timetable, madam.
Yeah, according to the timetable they give, I'm asking usually, do you have any like Sunday or Monday or no, sorry, Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday like this? Any idea?
We can't
No.
give the exact day, madam. They give the time scheduled according to the month.
Yes. No, sometimes I have some issues during the weekends. That's why I just wanted to know if you are free any day during the weekends, right? Anyhow, I'll talk to the office and see whether we can go for any weekday. If it's possible, we can fix it, or else we can just have the weekends. We'll be able to manage it, right? Anyhow, I think then we will be meeting again in the next month, not in this month.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, so all of you refresh what we have done so far, and let's continue our discussion when we meet next day. Okay, probably in the next month. Okay, then, right. So, Good night. Yes, Kumuduni. I'm teaching in SLIAC tonight. Still, I'm working in 88 tonight. Okay. I don't know whether you have been there. Okay, right. All right then. So nice to meet you again. So as the time is up, then let's wind up the discussion. Right. Good night, all of you.
Good night, madam.
Okay, madam.
Thank you.
Good night, madam. Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Good night.